Hey, my name is PolishLynx and welcome to Narcissu, a little iRace. Narcissu side story, supposedly, but... well, same rules. If there is voiceovering, if that makes sense. I'm not reading, if there is not, I'm reading, and well, let's begin basically. We have novel mode, we have the afterword and chapter 1 prologue. Let's do it like this. A wind was blowing, cold and heralding the end of autumn. It made waves in the wheat under the waning daylight.
すべてのものには生に輝く時期がある。
If so, then of course this scene before me would appear to be shining, even when blown about by the cold north wind. Its life still seems strong and bountiful. However, that wasn't something that could continue forever. The day when even this brilliant fate will eventually come. This was the way of this world, a law that no person, no thing could ever escape. Born in the spring, raised in the summer, bearing fruit in the autumn. And winter comes again, the season that makes one feel like a cold ending has come. As if after a long life a cycle were completing, a dark night of just enduring was beginning. Very soon, snowflakes will be dancing in the air. In a flash, the ground will be covered in white. And every year, when the snow begins to fall, I remember the same thing.
私の名はペネロペ。
What I remember is... I should do something like this. To hear the voices better.
冬に思い出を持つ者の名前だ。
It is a memory that can be forgotten. When it becomes winter, there is no avoiding remembering her. Like a sleeping child, awaking and suddenly crying.
その昔、あるところに一人の娘がいた。
A girl with an upbringing you couldn't call very happy. The times also were becoming troubled.
名前をイリスという。
By now, it was probably over a decade ago. I have forgotten exactly how many years have passed. That's right, if I'm to speak of her, I should start from the beginning. Her birth, the time she cried when she first killed a person. Old people have turning points in their lives, and in the same way, she also had a number of them. But for her, the beginning was probably the day she first left the castle. About 10 years ago, the day of her 8th birthday. She had been given in marriage to a neighboring country. It may seem like a lie, but it is the truth. Oh, it was early winter. Even though it was still November, the completely white sky was scattering snow. It was very cold day. A horse-drawn carriage rolled up the road with a clattering sound. It was the first time in her life she'd been taken outside the castle. Freezing as she sat in the swaying carriage, she stared out the window. Even though everything she saw was new, there was no sense of freshness or fun. That scenery that she first saw held only fear. As if talking to herself, she murmured quietly. The snow that had begun to fall chilled her body all the more.
私の名はイリス。
More precisely, it was Iris Camonis Alena. Camonis was my maternal grandfather's surname. Alena was my paternal grandfather's. It seemed that I had been born in a small country called Alena, and apparently I was its second princess. Apparently might sound like a very detached way of saying things, but since I have no memory of my parents telling me this directly, that's the only way to put it. Not only that, I don't have any memory of ever speaking to my parents at all. I can't even recall their faces. No, it was just my parents. I've been known for as long as I can remember. Up until now, I'd always lived in one little room. Of course, I had always been called Princess Iris, and have no memory of ever being treated rudely. I was able to bath every day, and for dressing or at mealtime, I was always brought things I liked. But the door was always locked from the outside. I was never allowed to leave that room of my own volition. Oh. It was a life with no trace of freedom. I'm sure it was just like being a prisoner. The inside of that cramped room was the entirety of my world. The world that I could see from the small window was my everything. Even if I could see it with my eyes, stretching out my hand and touching it was impossible.
だから、いつも空を見ていた。
I already know where this is going, kind of. I was especially fond of the night sky in winter. I'd gaze endlessly at the deep, clear winter constellations. So basically, I'm guessing that she's also sick. However, in very long time ago. And they locked her in the room, basically. That's all. But she can't go outside, that's the problem as well. So it's even worse than 7th floor, kind of. Alright. The bitingly crisp air, my whitening breath, the shining stars. There was nothing else to do, nothing else I could do. And living there, I learned one single thing.
空は夜明け前が最も暗い。
Moments before the eastern sky would brighten, I noticed that it was like the whole sky was covered in a cloak of darkness. And if the night, cornered by the breaking down, was putting up its final resistance, I learned that it became absolutely dark. This was the entirety of my 8 years of life.
だけど、こんな私にも目的があるそうだ。
You could even call it a reason for existing. It was something that I had constantly been told ever before I was aware of the world. One day, I bravely asked a mate.
もしかして、私ずっとここで暮らすの？
いいえ、姫様には大切なお役目があるんですよ。
役目？
はい。そのための大切なお体なんですから、みんな気を使っているんですよ。
Saying that, she changed the sheets on the bed. Apparently a horrifying disease called the Black Death was spreading in the harbor.
姫様は時期が来たら隣の国へと嫁ぐのですからね。
Now that's crappy, isn't it? I don't think any girl would like that, like arranged marriage.
この私が嫁ぐ。それはいつなの？
For sinful guys.
さあ、それは私にはわかりませんけど、ただしその日までは姫様にご病気になられては私どもが責任を問われてしまいますので。
With those final words, the maid left the room, and as always, upon leaving, she locked the door from outside. Ouch. And with that, no one else would come until tomorrow. Obviously, I couldn't live on my own. There were times when I cried to be let out, but my request was never once granted. After years of having those exchanges, I knew already that they were useless. And so, I did not even watch as the maid left. I just gazed out the window, at the sky as always. Alone, I continued watching countless dark night skies.
小さなイリスは考えた。人は誰かに必要とされるからこそ人である。
and I was apparently fated to be wed to a neighboring country. It seemed that was the purpose for which I existed.
だから私は人である。
Even though I had no freedom, I decided to think of it like that. So basically, my thought process was not correct, I guess. After her being about her being sick. Well, this was the reason I was treated like a person, I told myself. And now it suddenly came to pass that I was going to a neighboring country. On the day I reached my 8th birthday, I was still living alone in my cramped room. And of course I had never seen my betrothed, never heard his voice, nor even knew his age. It was all probably a political marriage to preserve the peace. Marriage by name, hostage situation by nature. These were young, innocent times when even that was still unclear. I gazed at the scenery flowing by as I was swayed around. Come to think of it, this was the first time I'd ever been outside. And now that I think about, in the past, well, basically a lot of old guys were marrying extremely young girls, so basically, if you think about it, there were a lot of pedophiles back there. Like, totally. I'm sure that at a time like this, anyone would be happy about the change in scenery. But for me, apprehension won out. The unfamiliar scenery only succeeded in making me more anxious.
姫様、間もなく到着です。
With those words, the carriage stopped. For some reason, we had stopped right in the middle of a forest with nothing around.
ねえ、こんな森の中でどうしたの？
私どもがお送りできるのはここまでです。
Say what?
ここから先は姫様お一人しか向かうことができませんので。
Hey, what the fuck is wrong with you people? She's 8 years old, damn it! With those words, I was lowered from the carriage.
では、お元気で。失礼します。
Well, you basically abandoned her, don't you?
ちょっと。
They basically abandoned her. Now that's sick. My voice didn't seem to be heard. The carriage just went back up the road it had come down. It was so sudden. I just stood there in the shock. The cold wind mercilessly beat on my body, and the unfamiliar road just went on forever by my eyes. And alongside that road was an old worn wooden post. So this was the border of the country. Huh. When I realized that I wanted to turn back to, but that wasn't something I could do. Well, actually you could. It's not like you need to care about this. Maybe, because a number of carriages and unfamiliar people were coming towards me. Oh crap.
お待ちしておりました、イリス様。
Well, at least she won't be alone. Kind of. It was a cute young woman. Judging by her clothing, she was something like the maids who always came to my room. However, in contrast to her cute voice and polite words, her eyes were cold. She did not even curtsy to someone like myself. The others didn't dismount from their horses either. The large group of people regarded the situation silently in a large circle.
では、まず最初にあなたの証をお願いします。
へ、へ、へ、へ。
はい。
Okay. While answering, I handed over the cameo that hung around my neck. Apparently that was the proof that I was a princess. Since I had received it on my 4th birthday, I had been told to never have it leave my person.
確かに。それでは、身につけているものはすべて預からせていただきますので、脱いでください。
You are in the middle of the freaking forest. Well, basically there is also a road, and you expect her to take off the clothes. Well, this place is sick. This place is sick. And people there are sick as well. Well, not good. Not really good.
すべてここで？はい、すべてです。
What is wrong with you, woman? The maid said that coolly, and nothing more. Suddenly she began walking in the forest, and gestured with her hand that I follow. There, my dress, bracelets, everything on my body was stripped from me. Cold wind and fluttering snow struck my naked body. In an unknown place, before unfamiliar people, more than even the cold or embarrassment, it was fear that had me on the verge of tears. Well, kind of not surprised.
では、次はこれをお召しになってください。
It was a luxurious, completely new dress. Under duress from the cold and uneasiness, I obeyed and put on the dress. This is this country's clothing. Could be that this all meant I could not bring a single thing from my country.
それでは、最後にこちらもお受け取りください。カメオ。
It wasn't the cameo that I had just earlier handed to her. That was just a normal cameo carved from a shell. This, however, was a cameo carved from gemstone on a necklace. I have never held something as precious as this before. Nervously I passed the necklace over my head. And when I did...
よくお似合いですよ、イリス姫様。
Thanks, I guess. Saying that, the maid smiled at me. This was also the first time I was called princess. And together with the maid, all the people ringed around, took up poses of respect. What's going on? It seems that for this country, this was proper. Eventually, I was led to one of the many carriages, and they ushered me in. It was then that the place where I'd just changed clothes unexpectedly came into view. Clothes going up in flame, all the clothing I had been wearing up until now. I had not thought about what would happen to the clothing I took off, but I never thought that they would burn them right here. Ouch. It wasn't that I was sad, but I was a little surprised. Those had all been things I was given the day before coming here, so it wasn't as if I had any attachment to them. But, sensing the possibility, I peered more closely. In the middle of the flames, that cameo had also been casually thrown in. Even though just moments ago it was the proof that I was a princess. Ooh. Something that I have been holding since I can remember, the proof that I was myself. It was burning in the middle of some forest I didn't even know the name of.
どうかしましたか、姫様？
Obviously.
さあ、早く参りましょう。たくさんの方がお待ちですよ。
Run for it? Maybe?
はい、わかりました。
With just that answer, I climbed to the carriage. I had no other words to say. Not really surprising.
小さなイリスは考えた。
The Iris born and raised in the country of Alena has already disappeared. From now on, she was to be this country's Iris. Iris, god damn it, I keep... Yeah, whatever. Never mind. It would be a lie if she said it didn't make her feel lonely, but she left it at that. She told herself that this was how it was. This was how it was, okay. And the carriage swayed for a while, from the ruts of the mountain road to smooth flagstones. Eventually, around when great mansions and brick buildings were lining the street,
姫様、着きましたよ。
with her voice, the carriage stopped. At the prompting, I exited the carriage. Even from a distance, my first view of the castle showed it was very grand, far larger than a castle of my former country. There was my new residence, the place I belonged. Was it alright for someone like myself to come to this place? I know I have been called a princess all this time, but considering I'd only ever lived in a small room, I felt extremely out of place, and that made me even more uneasy.
それでは参りましょうか。
The carriage swayed a bit more, and I was led down before a grand door. Overwhelmed by the size of it, I was dumbstruck. As if urging me forward, the maid began to walk ahead of me. We walked through a large hallway, past a number of rooms. During that time, I never faced anyone directly. No, more precisely, I never made eye contact with anyone. Certainly, there were a number of people scattered throughout the hallway, but when they saw me, without exception, they lowered their eyes. And then, they would respectfully bow their heads and adopt a posture of respect. It was the first time I had ever been treated this way. In a way, for the first time in my life, I truly felt like a princess. And then we passed through a large hall.
そちらに。
Yes, sir.
ここに座るの？
The maid nodded in reply. Not really understanding, I obeyed the words. The exact instant that I sat down, the hall fell into complete silence. People who had been noisy just moments ago before went quiet instantly. On closer inspection, I noticed this hall only had the one seat. That meant that the only one sitting was myself. Wait, so is she being the queen instantly? Everyone then stopped moving and looked at me silently. I had absolutely no idea what I should do.
姫様。
Yeah, well, I'm a bit confused as well. Perhaps gauging my feelings from my appearance, the maid spoke to me.
一言、休め、と。
Why?
わかりました。
And so, to the many people who still have not moved and were looking at me.
休め。
In that instant, a number of voices spilled out. As if a thread of tension had been cut, the room became boisterous.
ようこそいらっしゃいました、イリス姫。
これからも何卒よろしくお願いします。
Welcome, welcome. Many people spoke to me, their faces beaming. They were all probably very important people in this country. An unfamiliar country, unfamiliar people, were all smiling and calling my name.
もしかして私は歓迎されているのだろうか。
Before I had been told that everything up to my coming here had been my reason for existence. And so, having come here, I had been afraid that I had lost that. But if all I knew, the existence of me was being desired, then I felt this was proof that I still a person, and I was happy. Little Iris had that thought. Okay, you know what, this This looks actually like a long story. If the chapters appear, it might be a long story. It was the same in Narcissu first and second. And it took... well... there it was... a lot of chapters. Alright, because I have no idea how long this might be actually, so let's divide this into chapters that appear. And yeah, I'll keep it this way. A bit different compared to Himeko's epilogue, but still, let's change this a bit. So, this was the first chapter, or Narcissu, a little iris. I need to remember to say iris instead of iris, because that's how they pronounce it actually. And, well, basically we'll see where this Narcissu will go. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next chapter. Bye.